The adult beverages are poured, the kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming, a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives. My name is Trevor, and I have a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old.
Hot, sticky summer, kids complaining,
All the time.
everybody's indoors.
Yes.
It's just like, you have to boot them out. Like, it's like you need to leave the house now. Like, it's...
do you ever feel bad doing that? Because like we'll boot the kids out, it'll be like sweltering out there, and then like my wife and I will look at each other like, "Do you want to go out with them?" I'm like, "No, I'm staying inside with the air conditioning."
You kidding me? How hot it is?
It's too hot. I'm not going outside.
It's inhumane to send me out there. How could you? They're not humans, they're kids. It's a difference.
They're sticking to the driveway as they walk down.
You just see their little footprints in the tarmac because you can have a good tracking of where they've gone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But the sticky days of summer, as we are rounding the corner into August, meaning it's almost done,
That's crazy to me.
depressing. Like, I don't know how soon you saw back to school stuff show up in your local stores, but I was seeing it at the beginning of July.
I swear it gets earlier each year. And I'm like, can you just stop? Can you give the parents a break? Do you get those shivers though? Like the back to school, I don't know, like there's something that's like deep in your core. You're like, oh no, it doesn't apply to me, but it does. And I don't like it.
Every year, September feels like that for me. It's like, oh, gotta go back.
Yeah.
Time to get a new binder. Here we go. Another year. But for me, it's the best part about it, though, is like they're just trying to shove back to school out so it can be over with, so they can get to the Halloween, so they can get that out of the way, so they can get to the Christmas.
Right.
And I'm just waiting for Christmas in September. Like they're so desperate for it to get it out.
Yeah.
And kids are already like rounding the corner. It's like, hey, Christmas, wonderful.
Hey,
Let's go. Here's
Black
what I
Friday
want.
in September. This is great.
But until that time, sticky heat. We are in the last month of summer. Hopefully all you gaming dads are making the most of it, as me and Jeff are trying to. Part of that is our annual tradition of Summer of Beers, which has been a stunning year this year.
Yeah.
As mentioned last week, every week we try our best to find as universally available beer as possible, so that we can mention it on the show and perhaps you pick it up. We get some really great suggestions from the audience. If you'd like to suggest to us, you can find us at newdadgaming.com or at newdadgaming. We'd love to hear beer suggestions. We'll do our best to find it. But we try our best to find like something a bit more globally available. This week we're like, no, we're going hyper local. I'll tell you this. Hey, listeners, I dare you to try to find these beers.
Yeah, there you go.
I dare you to try to find these beers.
Reverse Uno.
Yeah. Well, the best part is like we'll get writers in like every single one. It's like, yes, it's everywhere. It's like,
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, this is easy to find.
now, so for myself, I'm looking at something remarkably Canadian, Billy Bob Bison. So that is from a little brewery here near where I live called Orleans Brewing Co. Great little brewery, a bunch of really interesting beers. It's tasty. It's an excellent beer. It's called a APA, which I had to ask him about. What's an APA? So Amber American Pale Ale.
Oh.
So I mean, technically probably an AAPA, but fine, so be it. This solid APA is a perfect balance of malt and American hops with its floral notes, light citrusy hop bitterness, and malty sweetness. This aromatic pale ale has a nice amber color, full mouthfeel.
Wow.
The mouth. Get that mouth to work out. And crisp finish. It's delicious. So I'd never tried an APA before, and I was curious about it, and excellent. It's got kind of those... It sort of rolls as you would expect it, as far as like a good ale along with an IPA. If you shove those guys together, you're getting into this mix. Right. So if you ever come across an APA, I suggest you try it. If you find anything from this brewery in particular, it's one of my favorites as a local, Orleans Brewing Co. Delicious. Nice. Give it a look. Now, for yourself, Jeff, what are you looking at this week?
I'm looking at a growler of beer.
Which he just holds up this, like, hey, Jeff, what are you drinking this week? And he holds up this jug.
It's a jug.
This brown jug. And it's like, all right, well, firstly, create us a new theme song.
Yeah.
A la jug.
Perfect. Yeah, it's just been one of those weekends. Decided to celebrate a little. I'm 40. I mean, come on. Let's just do it up big.
Deserve it.
This one is Lone Pine IPA by Sawdust City Brewing. And they're out of Gravenhurst here in Ontario. Again, small community. And I drank the whole growler, so you can imagine that I did like it. Very fresh tasting, very easy to go down. I think it's 6.5%, so it is a little strong. I had a great day with it. But it's hilarious. The description on their site is like, you approach the solitary windswept pine as it sits stoically upon its tiny perch of the Canadian Shield, and you wonder to yourself, why does this beautiful tree stand alone? I love it. I love this copy.
Okay, can I take a pass of that?
Yeah.
You approach the solitary windswept pine as it sits stoically upon its tiny perch of Canadian Shield, and you wonder to yourself, why does this beautiful tree stand alone? Just like, ooh, ooh, ooh. So how is the flavor? How's it hitting you?
That is perfect. Again, crisp, cold. I love it. It's very easy to taste. It's nothing's like hot, like hopping out at you, jumping out at you too much. So it's pretty. It's like a standard IPA. I think there's nothing crazy about it, but it's great. I love it.
Excellent. So that was our hyper local this week. Thanks everyone for indulging us again. Like we got some great suggestions. We're trying our best to find them, but do send us yours if you have anything we might be able to find at New Dad Gaming or newdadgaming.com. Now I mentioned the Twitter handle, and we got some great callouts this week, which you really want to mention. It was amazing. So we got CC'd on this excellent tweet from the Top Loader, and it came from his son, Top Loader Jr. And Jeff, why don't you describe what the dear boy was discussing?
So they were in this little short video. They were asking, what's your favorite Doom game, right? And there's a whole bunch of Doom games behind them. And they're looking at them, and you're just, sit and wonder what he's going to pick, right? And it's Quake!
What's your favorite Quake game? The little man says Quake. Oh, so what's your favorite Doom game?
Doom game.
Little man says Quake.
And
good one.
Absolutely. Like my kids can totally relate. It's perfect. I mean, they've played Quake with me, and I don't even know if they really enjoyed Doom, but Quake was the winner. So yeah, Top Loader Jr. Yeah, perfect pick.
So again, that comes from at @the_top_loader. Has a YouTube channel for gaming and everything else. This awesome looking Pikachu hat for it. Great to be included. That was a fantastic video. That's a gaming dad win if we ever see one.
Sure.
Raising them right. And speaking of raising them right, like we got a shout out from Surviving Games. So at surviving_PDX, the makers of Surviving Mars and some other like similar titles, for a tweet that Jeff had sent out from his own gaming dad victory that you had this week playing Surviving Mars. It like set the scene. Like I was crying with laughter when I read this.
Yeah, so my 9-year-old is playing this strategy game, and it's about, building up a colony on Mars, surviving the harshness of Mars and trying to build that up. Playing along, I'm walking, just minding my own business down the stairs, and I see my 12-year-old in a full dress shirt and tie running down. I'm like, what is... And you know how you kind of stop and like process? You're like, what is going on?
Do I want to intervene? do I want to know? Or am I just going to pretend I didn't see this?
Yeah, like, do you ask questions at this point, or you just kind of like shrug? But no, I asked where are you going all dressed up? And my 12-year-old's like, oh, I'm going to watch my 9-year-old play, and I'm going to be their boss from NASA to help them play this game.
It's
perfect.
So good.
I mean, creative. I love it. You're dressed the part. What could you say? So it was adorable. It was pretty funny.
I'm going to be their boss from NASA on Earth. Oh, like just the role playing and playing the game, the creativity of it, like that's so on point. That is so awesome.
Yeah, and it was just a really good moment where the 12-year-old would watch the 9-year-old. Like, so dress the part made it fun for him, because they never watch each other game. They either want to play together or they go their separate ways. So this was perfect. I loved it. So
just amazing. So got the retweet and the comment, the most wholesome Surviving Mars content we've seen.
Yes.
And I have to agree. That was so great. So kudos to your kids on an awesome way to co-play on that good game. Now, you've been dipping into this game. You've been dipping into a few other games because dear dear listeners, the one and only Jeff, perhaps because of his old age,
Oh, it could be.
has given up and has joined us with game streaming. So Jeff, you have participated in it. You have signed up for PS Extra to be able to stream games and get unlimited games from PlayStation, the network. So much like I've been on this bandwagon for Xbox Live or oh goodness, I'm blanking on the title of it, but the Xbox gaming stream service, which I absolutely adore.
Yeah.
You're in the PlayStation world. So what has your experience been? Like, what's it been like dipping your toes into the future?
I was the biggest skeptic of your little Game Pass loving. Like, I wasn't sure what was going to happen. So, no, this PlayStation like puts it right on the homepage, and they're like, "Hey, you have your membership. You want to pay a little extra, and you can get these tiers." So there's the extra and the premium you can stream all the way back to PS1. And then the extra games, or the extra tier, is just like PS4 and PS5 stuff. And man, is it good. Like, I hate myself for it because I'm like,
woo, he's on it. We beat him down. He's going to throw away his discs.
yeah, that's it. Just frisbees. Just here, kids, just play with it. Yeah, and it kind of goes in with the PS5 digital version I have. So I'm out of the disc space anyway. And this service, I was more worried because I like to own my games, so
Yeah.
I don't like to work on timelines where, oh, this game's on this service, but who knows when it leaves, right? And being gaming dads, our backlogs, we could leave a game there forever. I think Final Fantasy 12 is one of both of ours there. It kind of sits there for a bit, right? And we never can really complete it. So, but this service has saved me a bunch of money just by demos, right? Like I can try out a full game as a demo and be like, I never would have liked this if I bought it. So kudos to the service. At least I get my demos back, like full games, mind you. But there's a couple in there that I'm like, wow, I would have spent, again, $70-$80 on this and not liked it. So
That's so. We'll get into the meat of this because this is really interesting. From a holdout to these new streaming services to someone, I don't want to call it a convert necessarily, but certainly you've come away with what sounds like a positive experience.
yeah.
But right off the hop, has there been any big wins? Like any particular games that just, I'm so glad I got a chance to try this because of the all-you-can-eat buffet of games, and it's like been a winner for you? Or has it just been the kind of like the demo experience?
Well, Death Stranding came off here.
That's
and
right. Hey,
that's a
Dad
big one.
Pack Simulator from last week.
That's right. So that was an easy win. Played Returnal for a bit. I realized that it was way tougher than what I was expecting, and nah, not doing that. And I'm wondering if I download Assassin's Creed Valhalla because that is a big game, and I'm like, well, not really paying for it. I mean, it's kind of there, so I could check out that one. But there's a bunch of other games on here that, if you sign up, I mean, we could just run down all these other ones that we have going.
I think I might, because I had, as I mentioned on the previous show, I've borrowed a friend's PS4 since I had like sold mine to get my Xbox, and I'm looking to kind of rekindle some of my plays, go through my like backlog of it, but I still have the PlayStation sign up, whatever the like PS Plus service is.
Yeah.
So I may as well like do the little bit extra and try that.
You may as well.
Now, does it do have you tried the streaming portion of it, like streaming it to your phone or a tablet?
I've streamed one game. I forget I forget what it was, but it was just a small like PS3 game to my phone, and it works. I mean, there's no drop in quality at all like that I experienced. It was great that way, and I was pretty close to, like, I was still in the house. The controls were fine too, but it was just being on the phone with a game that I knew that was on a system that I could play on my TV was weird. That was just, I think that's just something I need to get over, much like just getting this service where I don't own my games. Dad can change. So I can see, like, there's definitely a market for it, and, it makes it super convenient. Like, if you got young kids and stuff and you want to dip into your game, you can just have it there with you instead of trying to escape to the TV.
Yeah, I'm still trying to, even with my embrace of streaming games, I'm still trying to separate myself from the console
Yeah.
and use a phone. And I'm even somebody who bought the backbone, so I have like the physical hardware meant for you streaming it to the device.
Yep.
And I used it to great effect with a couple games. Like I'd used it with Donut Country
Oh yes, yeah.
and like, two other like RPGs. I was even trying, if you could believe it, the Pillars of Eternity. Like I was even doing that one on the phone, which was
Whoa, yeah.
that was a bit much. But even still, I could. It was something I just sitting there and like working through slowly and kind of reading all the dialogue trees. It is even for me, someone a long-standing embracer of this new streaming world. It's still a bit difficult to not contain gaming in the context of couch, controller, big TV.
Yeah.
You know, because that's like, it's time to game. Like, what would you do? As opposed to, okay, I'm in bed and like my wife and I are talking and I have my phone with the controller. Because you would expect that to be, okay, this is mobile gaming, so it's going to be some grindy microtransaction nonsense as opposed to AAA interesting big story.
Yeah.
So it's certainly a disconnect. So are you interested in it? Like, are you interested in like untethering yourself and having that kind of mobile experience?
I think so. Especially with like that Steam Deck pre-order, right? So like, it's happening. Like, I think it's starting to come off the screen a little bit. And again, it's super convenient for me to do stuff on the couch or like out with the kids, just watching them play and stuff. And I'm not totally in a different room and, you know, headphones on and stuff. But it's funny you mentioned the Backbone because they came out with a PlayStation version of it, specifically for, you know, this launch kind of thing. So maybe there's one of those in my future. I don't know. We tend to sell each other on different stuff we get. So
now you have a Steam Deck coming up, so it's kind of like I'd sort of like
I have a pre-order there. It's not there yet, Trevor. I don't know.
So my problem with that would be like the Backbone will run you 120.
Ooh, okay. Well, let's just.
And the Steam Deck is 400, 500.
Yeah, it's up there.
So by the time you spend 100,
yeah, I know,
you're
right?
Practically half.
We need to start our Patreon. Let's just kick that up a notch.
Everybody, just to hear Jess' reaction to it. Now, have you had the experience where have you gone through the catalog of games with your kids and said, do you see anything you'd like to play? Because I'll say that just quickly on my side, that is something my kids have discovered that they kind of have access to. Is that they will now say, hey, let's check out the games.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So we'll go to that screen where it's just like the wall of, here's everything. And what do you want to play? Okay, there's like Rayman Legends there. Here is, that's how they first discovered Minecraft Dungeons. Here's Humans Fall Flat. They kind of rediscovered in that way too. Yeah. So they now almost have that kind of library approach to it where like, let's go to the library and pick out something fun. It's like, let's go to that game screen that you have and let's find something new.
No, they definitely do that. I think they focus on a lot of the ones that look fun to play, right, instead of like reading up on them. So Slime Rancher is a big one. That's again cool. Surviving Mars was another. There's a couple other games that we can talk later on the show about, but like they go to that kind of gaming screen to look at these things. And I was going to upgrade my PS5 hard drive and I'm like, nah, I don't need to. And now I get the notifications on the app saying my 9-year-old's up there downloading like 4 games onto the system. I'm like, whoa, okay.
Slow up, Ranger. Let's go.
Yeah, and it works out for some of the bigger games that I don't have the I have the discs for, but not the digital version. So like the original Spider-Man, I have the disc for. It won't work on the PS5 with the digital. So now you get the digital version. And so my 9-year-old's downloading that 80 gig game. So
yeah, the only thing unless I'm misunderstanding it, which could very well be the case, is I haven't seen an ability for 2 players to stream a game.
Oh yeah.
Because right now, like the game time for my kids is very much like a co-op affair. So a lot of how they approach things, like, okay, what game is available for both of us to play? Right. So like the problem with what I would be with streaming would be, okay, it'd be great if you could just stream the game because I don't know if you're going to like it. I don't care to take up hard drive space and I don't want to wait, 6 hours for this thing to download. But because like they're always so focused on being able to play together, I can't quite do
Yes.
that necessarily. So there's one thing I like about streaming, much like yourself with like demoing it. It's almost like you could stream it to demo it. If you like it, download it so the experience is better.
Yeah.
But when it's the two of them, it kind of a non-starter at this point.
Yeah, that's an interesting. I never thought of that. Right, like once you start doing that, like how do those games work?
Yeah,
So,
as best I've seen so far, it's not two-player streaming, but I'm happy to be corrected if somebody would want to do that. Now, a game you did play that is a huge draw in our house as well is Totally Reliable Delivery Service.
yes.
And you got this. I got this through Game Pass. You
Yep.
got this through PS Extra, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
It is so frustrating.
It is.
It almost feels if you didn't know better, you would think it's horribly designed or like
Yes.
incompetently put together.
Like
But
they
it-
missed everything and launched the game. Like they're just like, ship it.
It's like good enough. Like it feels like a game that was built on a game jam, like really quickly over a
Yeah.
weekend. Like so, it's not quite refined,
Yeah.
but it's punishing to a charming degree. What's been your experience with it with your kids?
Again, this is like a great recommendation from you because I would have never downloaded this thing. I'm like, oh, okay, Trevor said this was great for the kids. So try it with the 12-year-old, 9-year-old just for fun. And 3-player of this stuff is insanity. Like, again, it's like human fall flat. So you're like these putty characters that can't really like nothing works. Like, so all the mechanics is like you're on Jello all the time. So getting like we're watching a video of the package that you have to deliver, trying to get into the car is like half the battle, and then trying to drive the car without the package flying out, another battle. But you never told, which is hilarious. We're all having a great time. I totally recommend it to anybody that just wants to laugh with their kid. Absolutely, there's no like threat of like game progress being lost or anything. Like you do have to like deliver those packages eventually, but you can just fart around the world. Speaking of farting. You never told me that there was a fart button.
There's a fart button? I don't know there's a fart button.
There's a fart button. And
Are you kidding me? My kids are missing out on the experience.
yeah, there's a fart button. So you lie down and you fart, right? And you're like, haha, that's funny. Worse, it makes any other players around you unconscious.
Oh my-
So guess
That's the worst mechanic.
Guess. Yeah, no, but guess what my kids figured out? Okay, it makes daddy unconscious. So daddy's in the helicopter with everybody riding there. They fart at me. Daddy passes out. The helicopter crashes. They're laughing. They're laughing hysterically.
Meanwhile, you've taken your putty character
Yeah.
like on the absolute knife's edge of being able to maintain this helicopter velocity.
Yep.
So you're like stressed to the max, like your heart rate is through the roof, and the kids all of a sudden just fart at the last moment, pass you out and fall to the.
That's
fall
it.
in. Oh, that's gorgeous.
I mean,
So good.
yeah, you need to go back and just discover that button
yeah.
because it was something, man. Like, I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing? So yeah, no, hilarious. This game is so much fun. Again, not much to it, but totally recommend it. Thank you for the recommendation yourself, because like, some good laughs.
Yeah, for sure. That's New Dead Gaming approved. Highly recommended if you can grab it, especially if on these services.
Yeah,
They're free, so hop in there. So totally reliable delivery service. Now another game that so I seem to have failed you in my recommendation of totally reliable service. See if you won't fail me. The kids have been pestering me to start with Roblox.
Oh,
And so again, I have a 7-year-old and a kid turning 5. And I have the system locked down now, so they can't spend my money.
that's good.
It only took me 3 mistakes to like figure that one out.
And we all learn.
Now, so I know that Roblox can be a money pit.
Yeah.
But I also know that it's very much online. Like, so there's worlds to be cautious of. Like, I don't think necessarily I'd want them alone on it. But like, what is your experience of it, and what is your reaction when I say like my 7-year-old wants to start playing Roblox? Because what I'm curious about, I've seen it. There are quality levels. Some people are putting together some really creative, interesting things.
Yeah.
So it's curious to me, like much like it's adjacent to Minecraft in the sense that like people are putting together some very wild, creative, interesting parts that I almost like to introduce them to, especially from, did you know that you can, much like you build stuff in Minecraft, you could build games with this if you
Yeah.
committed yourself.
Right.
So all those caveats being said, like what is your reaction to me, or just what's your recommendation for my 7-year-old playing Roblox?
I mean, my 7-year-old started then, because they're older.
But what about a good dad though? What would a good dad do?
I think you could with the right things locked down. So if you create a profile and all that stuff, you can lock everything down so they can't chat to people, they can't add new friends, which becomes a pain once they discover their friends at recess have it and they want you to add them. So there's stuff that you can do to kind of eliminate most of the threat. That being said, they can kind of peruse what genres they want to fall into. Do you know what my 7-year-old falls into? Well, like at that time, it was like playing house. I'm like, listen, I want you to clean up your room for real, and you're doing it in the game.
Dad, look, I get paid a coin if I put away my toys. It's like, I will pay you coins if you put away your toys.
I will make
We've
up a
had this
currency.
conversation.
I'll just make up a currency. You get dad bucks. So there you go.
Dad
Go clean up
coins.
your room. Yeah, so I think it's totally doable. You might want to be in the same room for the first couple of sessions. Like, this computer's not going to be locked away in a room, but I think you're okay with it. Any younger than that, though, I wouldn't. There's just too much going on.
Yeah, so that's the interesting one. So very much, again, like their gaming time is very much co-op. Although often, like the other one will, if they can't agree on a game to play, one will grab the Switch, one will be on the Xbox, and never the twain shall meet.
That's not
So
bad.
that's a good caveat. So I could see it being that, like, okay, if he's on his own, if the 7-year-old's on his own, you can play this.
Yeah.
You can't. My youngest, you cannot play this one. You're gonna have to like go back to the Switch and play some Mario instead. So that's good to know. So get it. So for somebody with a kid of around the 7-year age, it is fine. It is fun. They couldn't get into it, but just as the dad, get in first.
Yeah.
And completely clean slate it. So no chat, no friend connections. Just remove all the online portions. Make sure, obviously, of course, the monetization is locked down. You can't. You're not
Number one. Yes.
You're not going to lose a couple $100 to Robux as you go along.
Yeah, I think is like when they're up in that reading age, because these games are constructed by people, right? So they don't guide you much. So you'll just get frustrated if you're even younger and all that's locked down. I think it's just a little bit of an older game to kind of step into. A platform. It's not even a game. It's a platform for like all these other games going on. So
Man, side story, like speaking of reading, like my kid was like, it's like, hey Dad, can you come read this for me? Like his reading really improved this year. He's in grade 1. He's going into grade 2. So he's in that. He's starting to get words. And to his credit, his schooling is in French. So primarily his reading is in French too, but it's similar enough. That's not a great excuse.
Yeah.
Anyways, he's looking at the screen like, hey Dad, he's Minecraft. Can you read what this says? He's like, flaunt, flare, for like, what is this word? I'm like, fire?
Oh, yeah.
F-I-R-E, fire?
Let's be careful on that one.
It's like, you can't read fucking, like, son, like, this isn't a good look, man. Like, we're gonna have to.
We need to go over the danger words first, and then.
That part's fine, but just like, how do you not read fire, man? It's 4 letters. F-I-R-E.
Yeah.
I'm like, what sound does an F make? What sound does an I make? I. Was that an R? Put them together. Like, it's not a trick question. It's like your mom is looking for any excuse for you not to game.
Yeah, that's well.
And your reading seems to be just depleting by the day.
Learned fire now. Hey, Mom, I played Minecraft and learned the word fire.
Yeah, I'm going to be fired at this rate. All right. On that note, we'll wrap it up there for the week. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. Do you have a beer recommendation? Do you have a gaming story? Wonderful stories this week. I was so happy to read the Doom versus Quake, as well as getting something from Surviving Mars. So if you have a beer recommendation, if you have a Gaming Dad win, if you have any type of gaming stories, we absolutely adore interacting with people who listen to the show. So you can find us at newdadgaming.com or at newdadgaming. As we're trying our best at this moment to grow the podcast and reach out to as many gaming dads as possible. So a very tiny thing that you could do that we appreciate immensely and actually has a profound impact on the show is if you could rate the show. So if you could subscribe to it on iTunes, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Caster, anywhere where you get your podcast. Subscriptions help, but then rate it. Leave a rating. It really like helps boost the signal. Lets other gaming dads know, hey, these guys are cool.
That's right.
So you can listen to these dudes. Don't worry about it. To get some hot, juicy game picks. But we would obviously really appreciate that. And reach out if you have any messages you'd like to promote. If you leave us a review, we'd love to promote your YouTube channel, Twitch channel, whatever else you like on the show. Happy to do so. So, gaming every week. Subscribe to the podcast. Reach out with beer picks, game storing, anything else like that. Would absolutely love to hear from you. And it's been a blast.
Yeah.
So, once again, thank you so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. Until next week, my name is Trevor, and I have a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old. And just remember.
Why would you subscribe? Look at this content. It's so
remember,
good.
This dad turned 40 and can't remember the line at the end of the show.
And he had a growler of beer this afternoon.
Oh, yeah, that's true, too.
Hit it, buddy. You got this. I believe in you.
Just remember, when you become a dad.
Nope, that's not it.
When?
Don't worry about it. Just remember, just because you became a dad.
That's it. Does not mean it's game over.
Apparently it is.
Oh, brutal.
Yeah, see you next week.
Later.